Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. Question number 1. Value stream mapping provides the most benefit when? Option A. Analyzing customer requirements. Option B. Planning Kaizen events. Option C. Identifying non-value added activities. Option D. Implementing an information technology strategy. Okay, first you should know what is the definition of a value stream mapping. Value stream mapping is a lean production tool to visually understand the flow of materials from supplier to customer. Lean production means producing goods without any waste. And what is waste? A waste is anything which does not add value. Let me continue with the second part of the definition, which says it includes the current process and flow as well as the value added and non-value added time of all the process steps. I will repeat the definition of value stream mapping multiple times so that I can make you understand each aspect of the definition one by one. We have understood what lean production is. Now the second part of the definition says that it is a lean production tool to visually understand the flow of materials. Visually understand the flow of materials. Visually understand means that making a flow chart of a process on a paper or on a computer to easily identify or pinpoint the process which should be reviewed. You can associate value stream mapping with some kind of a flow chart to memorize the definition of a value stream mapping. We all know that flow charts are used to understand or define the process or hierarchy. I believe my viewers must have understood the term value stream mapping. Therefore, now we are going to evaluate all the options. Let's begin with option A, which says that value stream mapping provides the most benefit when analyzing customer requirements. Since we study and analyze process in value stream mapping, therefore this can be an appropriate answer. But let's see what we have in option B. Planning Kaizen events. Kaizen is a different term and it is somewhat related to value stream mapping. Kaizen is a Japanese term for improvement. It is a process of continuous improvement by involving everyone, like managers and workers. Since question is about value stream mapping, therefore Kaizen is not relevant. This is not the correct choice. Let's move on to option C. Identifying non-value added activities. True. Just recall the definition of value stream mapping which I have just explained few minutes ago. Value stream mapping is a lean production tool to visually understand the flow of materials from supplier to customer. It includes the current process and flow as well as the value added and non-value added time of all the process steps. So it is quite evident that option C is the correct answer since it talks about identifying non-value added activities. But let's have a look on option D as well. Implementing an information technology strategy. Since you know the definition of value stream mapping, therefore you can easily figure it out that this is not the correct answer at all. Option C is the most appropriate answer for this question. Question 2. A supplier disputes a low rating generated by a company's ERP system. Which of the following actions by the purchasing agent is most appropriate? Option A. Advise the ERP information technology manager that there is a flaw in the rating system. Option B. Scrap the vendor rating system until the company can figure out what is wrong. Option C. Tell the supplier that regardless of the disputed claims, the supplier must improve performance. Option D. Compare the vendor and company details records and interview company employees who handled the data. Before I start answering this question, I want to give you a very important tip. In a CSCP exam, many students fail to understand the question. That is why I urge my viewers to read the question multiple times. There are many useful tips which I have shared in my video Golden Tips for Passing CSCP Exam. I would suggest you to please watch this video so that you can apply those tips here while solving these questions with me. Anyway, let's get back to the question. Let me rephrase this question for those who are new to supplier rating system. Actually, in this question, a supplier is complaining about his low rating by a company's software. In a supply chain business, you always rate your suppliers based on their services so that anybody in the company can have an idea about suppliers' services before placing an order. Question is saying that one of the suppliers is complaining that company's ERP system has given him low rating. We have to find out why company's system has rated him low. Option A suggests that we should advise the ERP information technology manager that there is a flaw in the rating system. Practically, this is not the right choice. How do we know if there is a flaw in the system or not before investigating it or rechecking it? So this is a harsh and abrupt decision which is not appropriate to pursue. Let's see what we have in option B. Scrap the vendor rating system until the company can figure out what is wrong. You cannot scrap company's system on one supplier's complaint. We should investigate and find out if supplier's complaint is genuine or not. So this is not the appropriate choice as well. Let's see what we have in option C. Tell the supplier that regardless of the disputed claims, the supplier must improve performance. That's too harsh. Always remember that suppliers are your partners and you have to work in collaboration with them. They are the ones who who can make your product or break your product. Therefore, you have to honor their requests. Since this is a harsh and inappropriate action, therefore this is not the correct choice too. Let's evaluate last option. Option D says, compare the vendor and company details records and interview company employees who handled the data. Before evaluating this choice, let me share a general advice for all my audience. Always remember that whenever you face any kind of problem or an issue, you should always check, review, or investigate that particular process first before making any decision. The same goes for this question as well. If a question talks about any kind of an issue, you should always look for the answer which suggests you to check or review the records. At the end of the day, human involvement is there and therefore there is a chance of feeding wrong or discrepant information in the system. So instead of taking abrupt decision, we should try to check, investigate and reconfirm things. Hence, this is the correct answer to this question. Question 3. A common benefit of including an automatic identification system at the point of sale in retail store is improved. Is improved what? Okay, we have to find it out. Option A, unit inventory precision. Option B, shipment traceability. Option C, sales revenue tracking. Option D, information integrity of freight bills. Now, before we begin, we should know what AIS is and what is POS. An automatic identification system is a system that can use various means, including barcode scanning and radio frequencies, to sense and load data into a computer. Point of sale or POS refers to the point where a customer makes a purchase and the payment is processed. For example, when you do groceries at a departmental store and reach counter for further processing of generating a receipt, store representative uses a POS system to record all your purchases and bill you accordingly through the use of barcoding, magnetic media and other equipment. Now let's get back to the question. Since it is a retail store where small quantity of units are sold on and off, therefore AIS will definitely help you improve unit inventory precision. Now let's have a look at other options too, so that you can have an idea if you have made a correct choice in the first go or not. Option B says shipment traceability. Question has clearly mentioned that it will be installed at the POS in a retail store, where items are either stored in a storeroom or displayed on the shelf. We don't ship goods here and there within a store, therefore shipment traceability has nothing to do with AIS. So this is entirely a wrong option here. Let's see what we have in option C, sales revenue tracking. Recall the function of AIS. AIS is used to load data into a computer. Therefore, sales revenue tracking has nothing to do with it. Here, I would like to give another tip to my viewers. Most of the times, students choose the wrong answer because they make a web of assumptions in their mind while evaluating a question. And that is why I ask my viewers to read the questions twice so that they can remain focused on the given parameters of the question. Please do not make stories and deliberately associate things with the question or the given choices. You have to focus on the given parameters of the question only. Anyway, let's move to option D, information integrity of freight bills. Since you know the function of AIS, you can easily figure it out that there is no association of information integrity of freight bills with AIS. So this is absolutely wrong. Option A is the right answer for this question. Viewers, if you find value in this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and pressing the bell icon. Thank you. Let's move on to the next question. Question 4. Incorporating information technology into its supply chain allows a company to efficiently, option A, manage order entry, scheduling, warehousing, and order tracking. Option B, incorporate elements of Six Sigma into supplier relationships. Option C, collect, store, encode, process, analyze, transmit, receive, and print data. Option D, upgrade enterprise resources, planning, revisions in a timely and secure manner. Okay, let's evaluate option A. Manage order entry, scheduling, warehousing, and order tracking. Actually, this option is talking about specific benefits related to order entry, scheduling, warehousing, and order tracking only. Whereas incorporating information technology in a supply chain does not limit its use to these specific functions only. There are far more uses of information technology in a supply chain. For example, you can use information technology in a supply chain for transportation, forecasting, production, or inventory management function. Therefore, this is not the right answer. Let's evaluate option B. Incorporate elements of Six Sigma into supplier relationships. Again, this option is talking about one particular function only. So this is not the right choice too. Let's see what we have in option C. Collect, store, encode, process, analyze, transmit, receive, and print data. In broader terms, regardless of the industry, incorporating information technology into company's supply chain will help you collect, store, encode, process, analyze, transmit, receive, and print data. Since this particular option is covering all the aspects of incorporating information technology in a supply chain, therefore this is the right choice. It is quite a simple question with a straightforward answer. It does not require much of an explanation. If anyone is having trouble figuring out the answer, then I'll advise you to read the question and the given choices again. Let's see what we have in option D. Upgrade enterprise resource planning revisions in a timely and secure manner. This is entirely irrelevant, so there is no point discussing this option. Question 5. Point of sale information fails to measure actual demand, most likely because option A, holidays interrupt typical sales patterns. Option B, data about lost sales cannot be captured. Option C, inventory levels are inaccurate. Option D, there is lag time in the system. Let's evaluate all the options and find out the correct answer. Option A says that holidays interrupt typical sales patterns. There are many forecasting techniques like seasonal index for nullifying the impact of any particular event or a holiday season from the sales data. Therefore, this is not the right answer. Option B, data about lost sales cannot be captured. In order to evaluate this option, I would like to elaborate definition of point of sale again. POS refers to the point where a customer makes a purchase and the payment is processed. Let me repeat an example of a grocery store. When you do groceries at a departmental store and reach at the counter for further processing of generating a receipt, store representative uses POS system to record all your purchases and bill you accordingly through the use of barcoding, magnetic media, and other equipment. But what if you went to a store to buy a bag of wheat, but it was out of stock? Since you didn't make a purchase and didn't pass through the POS system, therefore, your demand of wheat bag was not recorded or captured in the system. Therefore, it is true that point of sale information fails to measure actual demand because data about lost sales cannot be captured. Option C. Inventory levels are inaccurate. Inventory levels has nothing to do with the actual demand. Therefore, this is completely wrong. Even if inventory levels are inaccurate, what difference can they make? So this is not the right choice. Anyway, let's see what we have in option D. There is lag time in the system. Oh my God. Yes. Yeah, right. As if we have one ghost spirit sitting there at the POS system who is telling us about the lag in the system. This is irrelevant. Question 6. A company considers outsourcing its information technology support to a low-cost region in another continent. The company currently has no business presence there. Which of the following actions is most effective in helping to select a service provider? Option A, finding a trusted local business agent to help in the search. Option B, contacting the country's consulate for leads. Option C, contacting the country's local government for recommendations. Option D, visiting several potential providers before making a selection. Let's evaluate option A. Finding a trusted local business agent to help in the search. This is the correct answer. Let me explain you how. Whenever we talk about stepping into a foreign market, we have to ensure that we are hiring a trusted local agent in that particular country to help you in the search. Since local agents are quite familiar with the industry and business norms there, they can easily assist you in connecting to the right people easily. Whereas if you will try to do this on your own, then you might have to face many barriers like language barrier, cultural difference, duty and taxes structure, local government regulations, etc. etc. Therefore, hiring a trusted local business agent is the most appropriate answer for this question. Anyway, let's have a look on option B, C and D as well. Option B says contacting the country's consulate for leads. They might be of some help to you, but since setting up IT support systems is not their core function, therefore this is not the appropriate solution. Option C says contacting the country's local government for recommendations. Again, it is not country's local government core function to assist you in setting up information technology support center there. Therefore, this is also a wrong choice. Option D, visiting several potential providers before making a selection. As advised earlier, that since you are not aware of the culture, business norms, duty and taxes structure, local government regulations, etc. there in the new market, therefore anybody can con you or anybody can befool you, even if you have shortlisted several potential providers. Therefore, this is not the wise choice too. So answer A, finding a trusted local business agent to help you in the search is the correct solution for this question. Question 7. A company discovers that several high volume customers have very erratic ordering patterns. Which of the following actions is most likely to reduce variability? Option A, checking the demand status multiple times daily. Option B, implementing electronic data interchange transactions. Option C, increasing safety stock levels for items these customers order. Option D, establishing internet-enabled collaborative relationships. Now, before we begin evaluating all these options, first you should know what is variability. What is the impact of high variability and why should we reduce it? Okay, let me explain you. Variability refers to changes in demand from period to period. It is impacted by trend, seasonality, promotional events, customer buying patterns and competition. Now let's get back to the question and try to understand it. Question is saying that high volume customers have very erratic ordering patterns. High volume customers means that they place big chunk of orders. Erratic ordering pattern means that their demand is volatile, due to which demand variability is high. As a supply chain manager, your objective is to ensure that your supply chain operations are stable and everything is running smoothly. Big unpredicted orders are very difficult to fulfill. Let's say you walk into a nearby shop and ask the shopkeeper to give you 100 loaves of bread. What will happen? Shopkeeper will not be able to fulfill your demand since he has kept limited quantity of bread as per the daily demand. Let's continue this example of bread for second aspect of the question, which says that customers have erratic buying behavior too. Now, keeping in view your demand of 100 loaves of bread, next day shopkeeper ordered 100 loaves of bread extra, assuming that you will visit his shop again for 100 loaves of bread. But unfortunately, you didn't visit the shop that day. Instead, you went there after 4 or 5 days searching for 100 loaves of bread again. Now think from a shopkeeper's perspective. Since you have erratic ordering pattern of big orders, therefore he is unable to cater to your demand. Therefore, reducing variability in a supply chain is extremely important. I always try to relate my questions with an example of a consumer products so that my viewers can easily grasp the concept of this question. Now, let's evaluate all the options. Option A says to check the demand status multiple times. Please consider an example of a person who was looking for 100 loaves of bread. How will you check the demand until and unless you have some contact with the customer? So checking the demand multiple multiple times is not possible, and therefore this is not the right answer. Option B, implementing electronic data interchange transactions. EDI is an electronic exchange of trading documents such as purchase orders, shipment notices, invoices, and other relevant documents in a standardized document format. It has nothing to do with the problem we are facing in this question. Therefore, this is not the correct choice too. Let's see what we have in option C. Increasing safety stock levels for items these customers order. Increasing safety stocks can be a possible way out for this problem, but it is not a wise choice, since you have to block certain amount of capital in maintaining safety stocks. Secondly, you cannot predict level of safety stocks as well. When demand volume is high and ordering pattern is erratic. Therefore, this is not the permanent solution to reduce the variability. What if a bread buyer appears someday and asks for 300 loaves of bread? Even if you have kept 100 loaves of bread in safety stock, you still cannot meet his demand of 300 loaves of bread. So this is not the correct choice too. Let's evaluate option D, establishing internet-enabled collaborative relationships. Recall my previous example in which you were a retailer and have client who buys bread from you. After establishing the internet-enabled collaborative relationship, you can easily communicate with the customer and inquire about his demand in advance. Accordingly, you will place the order to your distributor or supplier. So this is the most appropriate solution for this question. Option D is the right answer. Question 8. Which of the following techniques allow users to automate the notification of appropriate parties when exceptions to specific business rules occur? Option A, supply chain event management. Option B, enterprise resource planning. Option C, advanced planning and scheduling. Option D, automatic identification and data capture. Now, if you have watched my previous videos, you can instantly figure out the answer of this question. Nevertheless, let me repeat the tip that I shared in that video again. See, whenever you see the word trigger or exception mentioned in your question or in the given choices, immediately connect it to a supply chain event management, because handling exceptions is the basic function of SCEM. Therefore, this is the correct answer. There is no point in evaluating other options. Therefore, we are going to move on to the next question. Question 9. Compared to the traditional enterprise resource planning system, an electronic business system (EBS) is preferred for today's e-business solution because EBS, option A, is more flexible and functional. Option B, has converged with web-based applications to form a grouping of business software functions. Option C is the backbone of outsourcing services. Option D encompasses e-procurement as a traditional purchasing function. Now, before we start, I would like to define what ERP is and what EBS is. ERP is a type of software that organizations use to manage day-to-day business activities such as accounting, procurement, project management, supply chain operations, etc., etc. Whereas EBS or e-business systems are a set of online technologies, equipment, and tools that a business uses to conduct business over the internet. For example, Uber, which connects the drivers with the people seeking rides. Now let's evaluate option A, which says that EBS is more flexible and functional. Actually, this is a general statement or a characteristic which can be true for any system. Therefore, this doesn't sound an appropriate answer. Let's see what we have in option B. Has converged with web-based applications to form a grouping of business software functions. Option B says that EBS has converged with web-based applications to form a grouping of business software function. This is what I have mentioned while explaining the definition of EBS with an example of Uber. Therefore, this is the correct answer. Let's have a look at option C and D as well. C says that EBS is the backbone of outsourcing services. We have just learned that EBS is simply a set of online technologies, equipments, and tools that a business uses to conduct business over the internet. Therefore, there is no association of outsourcing services with the EBS. Therefore, it is not the correct choice. Option D encompasses e-procurement as a traditional purchasing function. Again, there is nowhere mentioned in the definition of EBS that it specifically encompasses e-procurement as a traditional purchasing function. It can be used for e-procurement, but it is not the only task which EBS performs. Therefore, this is not the correct answer. Option B is the correct answer for this question. Question 10. Which of the following statements about the use of barcode labels for product identification in the supply chain is true? Option A, they have been replaced by radio frequency identification tags. Option B, they can be read by devices 1 to 3 meters from the item. Option C, each of the trading partners must apply a unique label. Option D, they facilitate the capture of information about the location of items. Before I begin evaluating each question, each option, let me define what barcode is. A barcode is a machine readable code in the form of numbers and a pattern of parallel lines of varying widths printed on a commodity. It is used to facilitate timely and accurate input of data to a computer system. Let's evaluate option A, which says that barcodes have been replaced by radio frequency tags. RFID is another similar tool like barcode. It has not replaced the barcode. In fact, both of them are similar products but have different functions or use. For example, barcode is comparatively cheaper. While using barcode, you need to scan each tag individually, whereas you can scan multiple tags at once with RFID tag. Secondly, RFID tags can store more data as compared to barcodes. There are many differences between the two, but they have not replaced each other. Therefore, this is not the correct choice. Option B, they can be read by devices 1 to 3 meters from the item. Standard laser scanners of a barcode can read from a few inches to a few feet depending upon the barcode type. So this is not the correct statement too. Let's evaluate option C. Each of the trading partners must apply a unique label. Barcodes are universal and used across many different stores. Therefore, this statement is also false. Let's evaluate option D. They facilitate the capture of information about the location of items. Barcodes stores product related data like the date of manufacturing, expiry date, name of the manufacturer, country of origin, and price, quantity of the product. Therefore, this statement is an absolutely correct statement about the barcodes. Viewers, if you find value in this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and pressing the bell icon. Thank you.